just knew about body language and kind of where you're at.
You can get by with a lot
And
of stuff.
what's the word I'm looking for? There's like a name for it. It's like a spatial knowledge,
Okay.
but it's like there's a real name for it. But like
Yeah.
either way, it's like you're kind of more of your surroundings. All I'm saying is that like I think that could it makes a lot of sense.
Interesting.
I think probably the quickest way to learn would just be to go to a country that speaks whatever language you want to speak.
Oh, dude, that would be the best way to learn.
Yeah.
Is go there, hang out with the people, and just try to like
Yeah,
start picking up the phrases.
You'd have it in 6 weeks.
Yeah, I think you'd have a very basic understanding of communication.
I think the first 3 days would be pretty rough, but after
Yes.
that, you'd be pretty good.
Yes.
Yeah, that's definitely your best way if you wanted to. I actually wanted to back in college. I wanted to study abroad, go to another country like Spain, learn Spanish. That would have been cool.
Yeah.
It'd
My
be
wife
awesome.
ruined it for me.
Yeah.
Bitch.
No, there's why do you want to go to Thailand forever?
Weird.
Just to go train.
Lady boys,
Well, you'd think that would be the
Maybe.
temptation. Yeah.
ping pong shows.
Yeah. Well, there's a weird link there, but
There's a lot of
leave that
interesting things in Thailand.
well, I think what he was looking for was the Muay Thai and the
I guess
cheap,
that's fair.
Cheap training.
Yeah, Muay Thai is very big there. It's crazy. Like they probably have a warehouse like we're in now,
Yeah.
but there's no like walls. It's just like the roof of this.
Yeah.
And it's just filled with like bags and rings and just probably like 200-300 dudes.
That's
Just
crazy.
Go like because that's all they do. And then a lot of them take the names like their last name, like their when they're fighting and whatnot. Because
Yeah.
I think the tradition is they don't really carry last names over there, so they take the name of their gym as their last name. So like their whole
Okay.
persona is based on like their gym and whatnot. Like they
Yeah.
take it very seriously over there.
I used to have a guy that came in the store and he would work for 6 months, save up his money, and then go to the Philippines for 6 months
Mhm.
and just
Hang out.
hang out with the hookers and things for 6 months, and then he'd be out of money and he'd come back and he'd work, and then that's how he did. He had like a family over there eventually and everything. It was wow. You could do that in Thailand, I suppose,
Yeah.
You could do that in Mexico City right now.
if you want.
It'd just be a little more expensive.
I had an Airbnb like 2 years ago, like my first time to Vegas, because I was going down there to compete in jiu-jitsu, and it was the cheapest one was just to like it was a 2-bedroom apartment, and I stayed in one room, and there was somebody else like living there. It ended up being a couple, and they are telling me that they were planning on moving to the Philippines and just like doing all their work that they do now on their computer out there, just because the price of living is so much cheaper and whatnot.
There's a lot of remote jobs that you could do from anywhere in the world, and it's really cheap to live in certain places. And so if you only made half of what you make in America, but you can live somewhere else, like you're probably still doing pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be cool. It depends. There's also a lot of places that I think someone might think would be really cool and might not be.
That's fair.
It's worth considering.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, Jared, why don't you tell us about your travels outside the country?
First time to Cancun, first time outside the country. I'm back though. I made it. Cartel didn't get me.
Cartel didn't get you?
Nah, no. The scammers didn't get me either. Freaking scammers.
Didn't buy anything on the street.
I bought stuff. Well, they got me for sure.
Yeah,
They got me. They just didn't get me as
Well,
much.
the salesmen, scammers, same thing.
Yeah.
What'd you buy?
I bought a bag in Isla Mujeres.
Okay.
And then I bought that's pretty much it. A bag and some snacks in Isla Mujeres.
That didn't sound like you had taken for too much. A couple
No.
bucks on the street, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
What was your favorite local dish that you tried?
Didn't really try that many. I ate grasshoppers. So
Ooh.
that's probably the best dish there. You'd say local, authentic. The guy looked at me. We're in the resort Mexican restaurant. There's 2 of them. And so we went to the lower end ones. We're not fancy people. We like the basic stuff, tacos. And so we went to the one with the tacos. But they had guacamole on their menu, and it listed with grasshoppers. And so he brought guacamole. It's like the first dish. Like, here's some chips and here's some guac. I look at the guy and I'm like, hey, are there grasshoppers in this one? And he's like, oh no, the grasshoppers are in the back. Like we hold those. And I was like, okay. And then about 5-10 minutes later, I was like, hey, can we get some grasshoppers? I just want to try. I want to try it and see what it's like. Oh yeah, man, I eat them like peanuts. They're good. You want them? Okay. And so he brings over like this little dish full of crickets is what they kind of looked like, but grasshoppers. And we all tried them. So I put it on some guacamole and ate it. My wife put it on some guacamole.
How
and
was
ate
it?
They actually, taste-wise, I ate them by themselves afterwards. And if you could just not imagine it being an insect for a second, the flavor was not bad. The flavor was decent. So they marinated them and like seasoned them and cooked them and like roasted them. So like the flavor was pretty good, but like the fact that they were insects was the disgusting part.
Yeah, it's a hard mental thing
So
for
no,
Americans.
ate some of that. That's probably the most authentic dish. We didn't eat anything outside the resort. I'm just, first time outside the country, man. Just chill.
You didn't have any. You didn't try any elote?
No, I got a coconut on the street.
Okay.
Yeah, I drank some coconut water from one
That
of the
was
coconut
nice.
vendors. I tried to haggle with them. They didn't want to haggle though. It was
They don't
like
haggle.
$6 for a coconut. And I was like, how about I buy 3 for 12? Nah. It's like, really? No deals, huh? Nah, price is the price. I'm like, all right.
Dude,
Like I just wanted a deal on something. Everybody else was haggling with me. Guy was like 700 pesos for this bag. And I'm like, that's like $35 American. I'm like, that's what I'd pay at Target for this crappy bag. It's like,
Sure.
I'd pay less than $35.
Yeah.
Like there's no chance. So they're always trying to take advantage of it.
Sure.
But the whole trip was really cool. Going to Cancun for the first part, going through, immigration customs and stuff was odd, a little nerve wracking the first time going through like Cancun. Everybody's like rushing you, trying to get you a taxi. You walk out the doors and they're like, need a taxi, taxi,
Yeah.
taxi. And it's just like, no. I know where I'm going. Okay. You need a ride. Where are you going? Who are you looking for? And they're always trying to like hook you up. So keep walking.
hey, they're hustlers.
They're hustlers for sure. And so same with when we went to Isla Mujeres, it was the same. Like you're walking down the street. Hey, buddy, come over here. Come check out my shop. Come on over here. I got good stuff, man. Come check it out. I'll make you a deal. And I'm like, all right, I'll come out and check your shop. They all have the same crap and it's not any good. It's all junk and you just don't want any of it.
Yeah.
So the only thing that we regret not getting was the lady that we bought the bag from. She actually gave me a deal. I bought the bag for like, $13 US. And I was like, that's a fair bag for whatever we bought. And she had these, what she claimed were hand carved, like wooden, statues or whatever you would call of like one of them was Jiminy Cricket or like, whoever the Pinocchio guy is. That's not Pinocchio. Geppetto. So yeah, she had some of those and it was like $30 for like a hand carved Jiminy Cricket. And I was like, that would have been a good one. So we should have pulled the trigger on some of those things. That's what I would have preferred.
Pretty badass.
Yeah. I would have preferred getting some like real, like things that not just like regular merchandise you can buy anywhere, but like show me some stuff that I can't get anywhere else. We bought a little conch shell that they haul it out and like you can blow into like a trumpet.
Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, Lord of the Flies style for sure. We got the conch.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So those are the main things that we purchased. Cannot take the conch that big on a carry-on. You had to check the bag. So I paid, I think like $13, $14 for the conch. And then I paid $30 to check the bag. So that was
It's $44 conch.
it was not worth it. Was not worth my kids. I was like, are you sure, man? This was only like $14. We can throw it away. No, I want to keep it. Okay, we're gonna pay $30 to check the bag.
You can throw it away later.
Yeah. after they blow the freaking thing all day long, like I'm gonna break the damn thing, kids.
They're literally gonna do it and forget about it within
I'll
6
hide
weeks.
I'll hide it here in a little bit, and they won't know where it's at.
Bury it in the
They
backyard.
don't listen anyway, so they would never know.
So that sounds pretty fun.
Yeah, it was a good time. Let me clear my throat. There we go. It was a really good time. The resort was huge. We stayed. It was more like a family resort, that kind of thing. It was not the authentic Mexican experience where you go and like stay in the middle of the city or something. We were out in like the jungle area.
You didn't go stay in the Mayan ruins?
No, we didn't go to the Mayan ruins. We did take the excursion to Isla Mujeres, that kind of thing. But the resort, you had to have golf carts take you around everywhere in the resort. So if you wanted to go to dinner, you had to like wait at the corner, and they would come by in like 5 minutes and lobby, go to lobby. Yep. Sí, gracias. So okay, and then. All right, lobby, and so you'd go there, and then there was all the restaurants. And the other restaurants were really good for the most part. We didn't have anything that was just not our style, but they had stuff that we would just never try, I suppose. They had a place called Habibi, which is like Lebanese food with like belly dancers and things. And
dude, Habibi sounds fun.
I would go, but like the food would, I just don't know what I would get. So
what about the belly dancers? Like the curiosity there, just like
I would do it just to make my kids uncomfortable.
Yeah, exactly. That'd be hilarious.
We'll go back and we'll do some stuff. There was too much to do.
Yeah.
But it was really what it came down to. Too many excursions, too many things. Like they had a gaming lounge for the kids where they can play Dance Revolution and like, the Jurassic Park shooter games and stuff like that. And you can rent a mouse and keyboard and play Fortnite and whatever else you want to do. So the kids were like trying to play Fortnite. I'm like, guys, we can do that anywhere.
Yeah, we're not playing Fortnite in
here.
Cancun.
Yeah. So we didn't do any of that stuff. They had a bowling alley in there. They had bumper cars for the kids. And so they had a water park. So we spent most of our time at the water park. Went to the beach one day, spent the day at the beach. Went to Isla Mujeres another day, went to the water park another day. So I did the surfing machine, broke my finger, jacked my foot up, jacked my elbow up. So, but I'm not bad at surfing on that machine now.
It's like a full vacation.
Yeah, it was a good time. We had a lot of fun. So I did not let them give me the timeshare presentation. I probably should have, just because they would give you the excursion for free. So if you just listen to them for like an hour and a half,
yeah, that's a tough hour and a half though.
It's very like, okay, like no, thank you. No, thank you.
I'll never forget. I was in Branson with my parents, and my dad was always like so hesitant on all that stuff. And he finally, it wasn't even like it wasn't a timeshare.
Yeah,
it was like something like that. And they finally suckered him for some cash.
Yep.
And I went to dinner with them that night because I was getting back from Kanakuk, and the server. Like, I don't remember what it was. He said that he's like, yeah, you guys didn't get suckered into a timeshare. And my dad just like stared at him.
There's people that are like happy, with their timeshares and things. I'm sure there's
but they're
people
not
that
all scams.
No, I'm sure there's people that enjoy what they got. But like the guy was trying to sell us on the next vacation before we, hey, buy this $300 administration fee and you can get your next vacation sometime in the next, year and a half for like almost half price.
Yeah.
And so he was trying to do that whenever we were leaving. I ended up buying that. So they got me on that one. But we're going back. But the thing I told the guy, I was like, man, if I don't get this, like I can go anywhere. But if I do, I have to go to one of their resorts, which they have them all over the world. But like you have to stay at one of their resorts.
Sure, it's smart.
So they have one. There's one in like Italy and one in Jamaica and Punta Cana and all these different places. So
that's awesome.
Where are you going next?
Probably back to Cancun. I just, I want to learn Spanish. So like I've exclusively said, we're just going to go to Spanish speaking countries. So
hey, there's Spain.
I was about to say, Spain would be a great one.
Spanish speaking countries is quite a list.
Yeah. So that doesn't really, it just says no Jamaica for the most part. Like, if you're going to go to Jamaica, they speak English.
I think Jamaica would be a good time.
It would be cool, but
come on, man. Don't you want to come down to Jamaica?
Yeah. Yeah.
That was better than I thought.
But
it was going to be.
There's so many. Yeah, that was decent.
5 out of 10.
Yeah,
it's like a dragon fruit.
But no, I figure if that was half the fun. I thought was actually just chatting with them in Spanish. The very little that I could use, I thought was pretty cool. So I enjoyed that out of the vacation even more than I thought I probably would have. So, because I didn't really prepare. I thought about it months and months ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I should probably learn a little Spanish before we go. And then I go and I didn't actually do any. But,
winging it's the best way.
But I did know just enough. You can get your point across. You can communicate with people pretty easily.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always pull out your phone.
The Google Translate, you don't even have to learn anything these days.
I know. I've done it many times.
And the only time I wish I would have had that is like at the water park. I didn't have my phone. I was trying to talk to these people. So they ended up leaving us on Isla Mujeres. We were supposed to go back at 4:20, and we're like looking around, like 4:15, can't find it. Don't see anybody. 4:20, like we see a couple people on our boat, so we like hang out with those couple people, like waiting, like okay, when are they coming? And like 30 minutes goes by. I'm like, this is really weird. Like, and the guy, one of the guys exclusively spoke Spanish, one spoke a little English, and he's like, don't worry. Like they said, meet here. Just meet here. Like, no big deal. So an hour goes by, no boat. And I finally go find somebody. And it's like, this is not like a professional organization. It's like a crappy island, Isla Mujeres. And so, I finally go find somebody and they're just kind of look at me. They're like, wait, you're on boat 8? Oh, like they take me over to the tour guides and they're like, oh, let me see what happened. Like, oh, they waited for you for 20 minutes. I'm like, they waited for me for 20 minutes? Like I was right where they said to wait, maybe 10 feet away from where they said to wait. And nobody ever like got my attention. And if it was just my family, I would agree. I was probably in the wrong. But there's 2 other guys we were hanging out with. So like their instructions were as clear as mine were. Just go wait here at this dock. And 4:20, we were there. So I had to get a boat back at 6:20 and then go. It was a little nerve-wracking, not too bad. So that was the worst part of the experience, though, I think, was being left.
I think there's a lot worse places you can get left.
Yeah, that wouldn't have been that bad if you were stuck there. They have a ferry that goes back and forth. I mean, it's a tourist destination. It's probably not too bad.
How was your, did you stay on your exercise and nutrition during the trip?
No, I didn't. Not at all.
Not at all?
I thought about working out, but it was like you had to take a golf cart to go work out every morning. So I was out. Yeah.
What about your food choices? How'd you stay?
I did choose better food choices for sure. Because we ate at the buffet half the time, just convenient. The kids can grab whatever they want. Then we had other places that we chose, like the steakhouse, got steak. I tried bone marrow for the first time there. It's kind of gross.
Oof.
It's gelatinous. It's kind of the weirdness of it. It's like gelatinous, and then you like spread it kind of like butter on your toast. Some people, I'm sure people think it's awesome, but it's kind of weird for me. But no, most of what I did was just limit how much I ate. I don't think I gained any weight, to be fair. Like I could go weigh myself. And I bet you I would weigh about the same as when I left for the most part.
So what are like some tips that you can share just on like?
Well, I'm not a drinker. I think that's the biggest thing that people have trouble with, is that like there was 4 bottles of alcohol just sitting in my room waiting for me to take shots. So I took like 4 shots the first day and like maybe like 4 the next day. But after that, I was like, I'm not a drinker. I don't really care to drink that much. And so I think the biggest problem people have is they go to drink, and there's a lot of calories, and you make a lot of bad choices, and you glutton yourself when you're drunk and things like that. So I didn't drink, but more than anything, I just paid attention to how my stomach felt. So if I feel full and I feel gross, like I'm going too hard. And that's, I think, the easiest thing I could do in that situation. And, breakfast, there was a guy who was making omelets. I ate omelets, I still would have a donut if I wanted a donut, but like main thing I'm eating is omelets. And then other nights there was dinner, and sometimes there was, Greek or Lebanese food or something like that. So I'd grab different stuff. I tried a lamb meatball, and I tried falafel, and I tried like their, one of their fish dishes and stuff. So I tried to stick to a little bit more protein-based foods.
What do you think of lamb? What'd you put on?
It was fine. I only had 1 meatball, so it's not a lot to judge it off of, but it tasted good. So I didn't go back for more, but
See, I've always had a weird, like, I've had lamb and I liked it, and then recently I haven't, so I've been meaning to go back to it just to reassess it, but I haven't had the courage yet to.
Yeah.
You a lamb guy, John?
Nah.
You ever had lamb?
Nah. It's a little weird. A little weird for me.
A little weird.
Lamb's a little weird.
Yeah.
Would you rather eat horse or lamb?
Horse.
Horse, okay.
Yeah.
Horse seems like more practical. Like a lamb, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's like some, like biblical upbringing. It just seems
I think you
wrong.
were supposed to eat the lamb.
Yeah.
Like Passover lamb.
No, I thought you just killed it and like smeared its blood on top.
No,
of
then
your
you totally eat it after that. Like it was
I don't
the
want to eat
Passover
any
lamb. Okay, that's fair.
There's no lamb for me.
The Jewish culture says that the lamb is probably the most delicious.
Listen,
so.
Really? I thought for some reason like you can't eat the lamb.
No, I think the lamb is
lamb's
like
on the menu.
a delicacy.
But,
okay.
But I disagree and agree with a lot of the things that those people. And to be fair, the lamb is pretty interesting. Like meat, it's like the texture.
Yeah, these were meatballs, so the texture was like it was already ground and stuff. So I didn't have a texture issue. There's one I refuse. I will not eat octopus though.
Really?
See, I think calamari was good.
They had octopus, like big ass octopus pieces. Like you could get a
they had
tentacle.
it at Costco the other day, and I was looking at it, and I showed my wife. I was like, "Should we try to make some octopus?"
It's kind of good.
No way, man.
I'm serious.
They're way too intelligent for me. I'm not gonna eat those things. Octopus is way too smart. I'm like, no thanks. I'm out.
Octopi.
The octopussies, they're too smart.
I think it's octopi.
I don't know. I watched My Octopus Friend on like Netflix or something like that. And
are chickens dumb?
Yeah, I think chickens are really
sorry.
stupid.
So are you saying there's a correlation between what you will eat and the intelligence of the animal?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Like dog. Would you eat dog?
I don't think I would want to, but I think I would.
Like in China, eating dog's not a problem.
Right,
they have one of their festivals is like the dog festival.
I know. I've never seen the thing.
And there's people that like fight the dog festival.
Yeah,
and
it's little.
Yeah. So I wouldn't eat dog.
I 100% don't support the dog eating festival.
Fair.
But at the same time,
the Yulon dog eating festival, whatever it is.
Yeah.
No, and so like horse is right on the edge. And I really do think it has to do with the intelligence of the animal. Like cows are pretty stupid. Chickens are really stupid, and like. That's pretty much what I eat most of. Fish are pretty stupid.
I was about to say, do we know if fish are smart?
Fish are really stupid. They don't you just look at their brain complexity and there's just not much there. But mammals, once you get a little closer, like I wouldn't eat a dolphin. A dolphin would be the same way. That'd be messed up. Dolphins are way too smart.
Dolphins are dickheads.
So, well, that's what my kid said.
No, they are.
There's one we could go and swim with the dolphins is one of the things there. My kid didn't want to do it. He's like, they'll drown you. And I was like, I don't think they'll drown you, man. Yeah. No, they don't like it. They don't like it. They'll drown you. They're mean.
I don't know if that's entirely true, and obviously not every dolphin. The only two things.
He was 9 too. So.
Yeah, they have sex for pleasure, and they kill things for no reason.
Yeah, so they're pretty intelligent then.
Yeah,
That's the sign of intelligence.
Absolutely.
Sex for pleasure and just killing things for the sport of it. It's about as human as you
It's
can
an
get.
interesting measuring stick,
Yeah.
but you're not wrong.
Yeah. So, no octopus on my list, probably no horse. I'd eat it. Like I don't have a problem if I'm in a country and like that's what they're going to eat. Like I'll eat it. Like, but if I have a choice, I'll go without it. So calamari, I was never a calamari. I've tried it. Never a fan.
It wasn't
Never.
amazing, but like
There's a lot of stuff where I have to try to like it. And I'm not so sure if you have to try to like it, is it really any good? Like bone marrow. Like it was like on the menu, it was like, this is a delicacy.
that's how I felt about oysters.
Oysters are pretty gross.
Yeah, I'm like,
yeah, like is it like I saw people
like,
there were people eating mussels at the
exactly,
at the buffet. Like they had mussels at the buffet and they like open them up and I saw like this plate full of like empty mussel shells and I'm just like, I would never choose that as my meal. But I guess some people
you
like
grew up
those.
eating it. I mean, obviously,
For sure,
we
that's
don't have
different.
any. There's no fresh seafood in Kansas.
Yeah,
So
that's fair.
we probably prefer
I tried lobster though, and it was not my thing. Not this time. I tried that back in Maine, but lobster's not my thing. So
Nah, I'm kind of wasted on seafood myself, to be honest.
Now
we're back,
we're back,
and we're back,
and we're back.
Welcome back. A little bit of technical difficulty on Brock's end, but no worries. He solved the problem.
First the camera went out, then and then the sound.
This is shaping up to be the best of the best podcast we've ever had, guys.
So smooth.
When the technical difficulties happen, the rest of it's going to be great.
Exactly.
Yep.
So let's hop into our first real topic.
Yeah, let's do it. What's on the docket today, Brock?
I'll go through them all real quick. So we all have like things to skip around on. Like I'll put up the menu right here.
He's gonna put up. I don't believe him.
And then I'm gonna put the bookmarkings down
these
here.
post edit things. He's just saying that they're not gonna happen.
They've been there every time.
Okay.
So we
not
have
on the video though.
Yeah, on the video.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been there. It's been there.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
The code I think was the last one we did.
Yeah.
Easy ways to get calories.
Okay, that's for you.
Yeah, if you're trying to put on weight and trying to get some calories really easy.
Brock's trying to beef up a little bit, so he needs a few tips on like how can I easily get some calories.
Most people do not need help with the excess calories.
But there are some people. There's skinny people out there.
No, I know.
Like I worked with skinny girls and I worked with skinny guys, both which had to eat a lot of food.
Sure.
So there are people that have the opposite of the common problem. Not as many, but those guys, it's an interesting problem because those people have to try and force feed and they're full all the time. Where people that want to lose weight are always hungry.
Sure.
And so it's a different type of struggle between being full and being high. And I've done both. And so you get an interesting combination of having to force your body weight up versus like dieting it off. It's a little different.
It sucks. Next, we have cancer and diabetes in America.
Yeah. Skyrocketed.
I
wonder why.
Factors.
Then, I think this goes well with that. What is our favorite Christmas candy and desserts?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
We're going to end it off talking New Year's resolutions.
Okay. Sounds like a plan.
All right. So here we go. Easy way to get calories. So as I've told you, I've been trying to put on that weight. I think I'm having some good success here. I've starting to find some stretch marks on my shoulders. I'm getting about a pound or two a week on the scale increases.
Okay.
So and that's pretty good.
Have you seen these stretch marks?
I have not verified it.
Just making sure.
My wife has, and she will verify them.
Okay.
I'm not going to ask your wife about your stretch marks, but go ahead.
We're just go ahead. I was just curious if there's. I haven't seen these, but stretch marks on the shoulders could happen. I got stretch marks on my legs and on some of my arms and shoulders whenever I first started working out in high school. I got stretch marks.
Yeah, that happened to me in high school too.
I got bicep stretch marks. I saw those. I didn't get some people get really big ones across their chest and their shoulders. I didn't get those. There was a guy I used to work out with in Lawrence whenever I was going to KU, and he had just stretch marks all over from just like gaining muscle too fast.
I think it's more. I could be wrong. I think it's more common in fat people getting smaller than smaller people getting bigger.
To get stretch marks?
Uh-huh.
How would you get stretch marks if you were getting smaller?
The skin.
Oh, the skin already stretched. Now it's coming back.
I've always just heard that for the thighs and stuff for people.
Yeah, I think it's more noticeable. I think it's probably what it is because the stretch has to be what creates the scar tissue.
I know what you mean. It's probably not called stretch marks, but it's like the same, like the scarring of the skin.
You might. I think their issue is the elasticity of the skin doesn't quite snap back, and so they have a little extra skin.
Yeah.
So pregnant women, it'll happen periodically where they'll have like the extra skin on their stomach from their belly that's stretched out,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. When it stretches, when it comes back, you see some of those stretch marks, but you may not see them while it's stretching. Kind of depends.
What I've kind of been doing is like techniques like I'll get like a pound and a half of ground beef
Mm-hmm.
and I'll make hamburger helper
Yeah.
and I'll slam like half of that in the morning and then half of that for lunch and then go do something like a chicken breast or like steak or something like that for dinner.
Yeah.
And then trying to fit in like, I don't know, whole foods like oatmeal and Greek yogurt and
Mhm.
stuff like that in between and not trying to like use too much, fill in too much shit basically.
Okay. It's not bad. It depends. I would say something like oatmeal wouldn't be necessary for the most part. If you think like most people think of oatmeal as like a slow digesting, filling kind of product. So
Yeah, it almost
You're
be like
talking-
a weight loss.
yeah, you're talking like something that would make you not hungry versus something that digests faster and easier, like white rice, would be more advantageous for you because you need something that digests like that.
So white rice over oatmeal.
Right, white rice over oatmeal for you. Yeah.
What about like brown rice? Is that better than white rice? Like,
No, fuck brown rice, man. Hate brown rice. Brown
brown
rice is
it
you
actually
can
does
mark
suck.
my words. Brown rice. Brown rice is the worst of the worst in the rices. Like I tried it. So growing up in middle school, I was eating brown rice because they told you back then that brown rice was better for you than white rice. And so I'm like suffering through this nasty brown rice, which is always, even no matter how you cook it, is gross. And it's like it's got the husk on it and it's like chewy and like just is not my thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I suffered through that, but I figured out eventually you can get the same results with white rice and it tastes delicious. And brown rice is disgusting. So the only things you got to think about it. What makes brown rice healthier? Well, it's not as processed, right? It still has fiber as the husk, and it still has a small amount of fat in the husk as well. And so you have the fiber and the fat that's in there slowing the absorption down of the rice. That's all that's
Yeah.
happening. And so when you slow the absorption down of the rice, then you have less of an insulin spike. And so you get a lower GI on the glycemic index. Well, I don't really give a fuck about that because I don't eat rice by itself. Most of the time, I'm eating rice with a protein source. The protein source slows down the digestion of the rice. If I have anything else like a fat source with it, that also slows down, like nuts or something like that, will slow down the digestion of everything in my stomach. So instead of looking at this glycemic index of each individual item, you can look at the glycemic load of the entire meal. How does the whole meal work together? And it changes drastically once you add protein in there and once you add some fiber and fat in there. Just like the fiber and fat makes brown rice, quote unquote, better. It's, adding those to your meal makes your meal better. So you don't have to eat fucking brown rice. Fuck brown rice.
You heard it here. Hashtag fuck brown rice.
Yeah. Basmati. I do like some basmati rice, jasmine rice. Both of those are great rices. But brown rice, do not eat. If you like brown rice, more power to you, But if you don't like brown rice, do not suffer to eat brown rice. There's no added benefit.
What are some other good like misconceptions that people think that you're just wasting your time eating shitty food or like shittier tasting food for no reason?
I'd say a lot of times people get too caught up in what types of foods they're eating versus the amounts. So there's a lot of fat people out there that eat a lot of whole foods. And unfortunately, they eat way more than they need. And that's what makes them fat still, right? It's not the type of food. There's this lie that's out there that the type of food is what the issue is. If you look at carnivore diet or you look at paleo diet or you look at, even these other guys like Carnivore Aurelius or anybody like that that's on Instagram that's talking about this, they act like the magic is in the food source that you're eating itself. Well, it's not. That's not the magic for weight loss, for body composition, for muscle building. The food source is almost not important. It's actually the calories and macros that really make it up. And it's really macros. With macro control, you get the results you want. There are other benefits for whole foods, and there are reasons to add whole foods in there. But when it comes down to it, the way that your body responds is more based on macros than it is the type of food that you eat. So if you're wasting your time eating something that you hate, that right there is a waste completely. So same with egg whites versus whole eggs, something like that. Eat the whole egg. The only time to eat egg whites is if you're trying to keep the calories too low and you still need protein intake, which you could do through a protein shake or something like that too, if you wanted to.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of them, It depends. Anytime somebody thinks they're eating a much healthier item, or something like that, it's not that big of a deal.
I mean, there's a lot of substitutes, ins and outs. Soda's one. I'm not saying it's a bad example. That's actually probably a good example. But like going through like the replacement things of like what things people think is really healthy.
Yeah.
No one thinks soda's healthy, obviously, but going to sucralose compared to the full sugar ones is substantially better.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's all small little ideas like you should eat avocados and things like that. If you don't like avocados, don't eat avocados. There's there's nothing magic about the fat source that you add. There are healthy fats, and there are reasons to take in healthy fats, but eating an avocado versus pecans like isn't going to change your body composition. Even if that was for the next year, you ate pecans instead of avocados, like you're not going to notice a difference. What you're going to notice a difference on is how much fat did you get in total, and how many calories does that equal out to. That's where the difference will be made. So everything else is kind of small potatoes. So, and I think people major in the minors, and they should really, majoring in the minors would be majoring in like the food sources, when they should really be majoring in like, what are my macro totals? How much protein, how much fat, how many carbs am I getting each day? And what does that total out to in a caloric range? And if they focused on that and didn't focus on the other food sources as much, they'd reach their goals faster.
Gotcha.
For sure. So, but to go to the original topic that we were talking about is easy ways to add calories. A lot of it is adding oils to meals because you don't notice them. So adding, even a protein shake. I used to try almond oil because it tasted pretty good. Avocado oil was another one I put in shakes, or I even put olive oil in the shakes at one point in time. And that's just an easy 150 calories to drop into a shake. Peanut butter is the same way. Natural peanut butter is just an easy way to add extra calories. Throwing cheese in your meal is another way. So it's just, there's a bunch of them when it comes down to it like that. So focusing instead of on brown rice or on oatmeal, you focus on easy to digest foods, things that fit and sit in your stomach easy. Like white rice is pretty easy, but if you eat something that sits wrongly and you don't like it, like salmon, you're trying to eat salmon because it's healthy, but you don't like salmon and it ruins your appetite because you're trying to eat it, go with chicken. Drink another protein shake.
Give me your top 3 most like macro friendly places to eat.
That's a tough one. So
I mean, I was about to say Chipotle.
Chipotle was always
Everyone's
a
gonna say
go-to because you
Chipotle.
can get double chicken or double steak or something like that, and you can cut your serving of rice down. You can cut your servings of beans, your cheese, your sour cream, all that stuff can be down, so you can do okay at Chipotle. There was a few sub sandwich shops. Every once in a while are okay. They're a little high in carbs. They're generally lower in fat though. So you can go sub sandwich shops. You can do okay. Jimmy John's, you could do okay. It's not perfect by any means, but you could do something like that there. Salad places, typically, there's one called Doc Green's here in Wichita that has a pretty good. You can get a salad plus like chicken breast and things on there, and those. You get a pretty good option.
You can eat anywhere as long as you just. Once again, you got to go back to your macros. If you're looking for your things for the day, you can get 2 Wendy's spicy chicken sandwiches. You just probably aren't going to have any more fat.
Well, that's
on that day, and it
that's
brings
how the
up that
macro game works,
right?
yeah.
It brings. We don't have to talk about that at length, but it gets back to that question of like, well, like if you're just hitting these certain metrics each day, it really doesn't matter what you eat.
That's fair. Yeah.
Like you can have these organic pasture raised eggs, or you could have the Wendy's spicy chicken sandwich.
If the macros are the same,
right? Depending on what else you have that day, you're going to have the exact same caloric content.
Yes. Yeah. And in terms of weight loss, it will be identical. You will not have a problem losing weight. So if you wanted to eat a fast food diet and test the theory and try to hit your macros, it's going to be harder because so much fast food is so fatty. So you'd have to manipulate macros a certain way. But if you wanted to, there is absolutely a way to do it, and people can do it. And there's plenty of Mr. Olympia competitors that were eating McDonald's and never prepped food or anything like that, and they were just eating junk all the time. So
just knowing how to like fit it within their macros.
Yeah, I don't think they had such good genetics; it didn't matter.
Gotcha.
They didn't track macros. There's some of them that didn't start dieting until 8 weeks out from the Olympia.
It's pretty nuts. Like,
yeah,
how much of a differentiation like genetics has in it and whatnot.
Yeah, for sure.
So, is there like a huge difference between like grilled and fried chicken? Because I know, if I'm gonna go out to eat, I'm going like Chick-fil-A.
Well, in terms of protein content, there's not a huge difference, right? So grilled or fried, it's about the same. In terms of fat content and carb content, that's where it changes. So grilled, you're not going to add any extra oil, and you're not going to add any extra carbs. Fried, you're going to be adding the extra breading, and then they're going to fry it in oil, so it's going to add extra calories. So the only time that would be a downside to you is if eating food like that filled your stomach up so much that it made you not hungry for your next meal. If that happens, then you're better off going with something leaner. So that's where the trade-off comes in. Like if you can't hit all your food goals every day, you have to start eating foods that digest more easily. Then you're hungry faster. Then you can fit in more food, that kind of thing. So that's where white rice was so easy. For me, it was a lot of beef, white rice, and like pecans, because they digested easily. It didn't cause my stomach problems. I could eat that and gorge myself on it and push my weight up as high as I could.
Do you have any like apps or like techniques or anything you recommend on tracking and whatnot?
There's one called My Macros Plus, which was the best macro app that I ever used. People like to use MyFitnessPal. I find it to be more confusing, not as accurate, a little bit harder, but it does have the biggest food database. My Macros Plus, now it's been a couple years since I've tracked a single thing, so I don't know if it's the best anymore, but My Macros Plus was one of the best ones. So yeah, it was a good app. And you can scan your food, like you can scan barcodes.
Oh, okay.
And so you like scan, you're going to eat a granola bar. You just scan it and it pops in all the information for you, carbs, fat, protein content, that kind of thing.
See, I haven't started tracking it on like a mass level like that. I've just kind of been like, I kind of go meal by meal, just like, if I do this, all right, sweet. But, and just kind of, I'm going to get more tuned in on it. I just haven't.
Yeah, you don't have to do all of it at once, but you need to figure out, your first goal is to figure out how much protein you're taking in every day. So that's your number one priority. Start to figure out how to get 200 grams of protein a day. So that's through your protein shakes. That's through everything. So generally speaking, that's about 2 pounds of chicken a day. So you get about 50 for about a half pound. You get about 50 grams of protein. So 200 is about 2 pounds.
What's that like? Is beef or chicken more protein dense?
Chicken's more protein dense because there's less fat in it.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if you're eating 4 ounces of beef or 4 ounces of chicken, the chicken will have more protein because there's less fat taking up room in the 4 ounces.
Okay.
So, but not a huge difference.
And like, does fat help? Like, what is fat's place in building muscle?
I mean, there's a lot for hormones. So fat is what controls hormone production. So if you go onto like a fat-free kind of diet, you'll jack your hormones up quite a bit. That's where there's good healthy fats like your omega-3s. You do need a balance of omega-3, 6, and 9. Those are your essential fatty acids. But beyond getting those requirements, the main thing you're using fat for is an energy source. And it's an energy source you use at like rest. Whenever you're up running around and you're working out, you're using carbohydrates and glycogen. Whenever you're just chilling, walking around, hanging out, doing low energy stuff, that's when you use fat as an energy source. So more exclusively.
So not eating as much fat can dictate or like affect your hormones?
Yeah. If you didn't have enough fat in your body, you could mess your hormones up.
Okay. So does that happen a lot to people when they're getting ready to compete and whatnot?
It can. I mean, I think probably more so like 20 years ago or something like that. I think it's pretty well established, the importance of healthy fats at this point in time. So it still does happen for the most part. And there are people, they're bodybuilders and things, women that are competing that take everything to the extreme. Their hair starts falling out. That would be an indicator generally of some sort of hormone imbalance. Fat is probably what they need to increase, but it could just be calories too. It could just be that their body is just not getting enough food. So
I gotcha. And so can you get too much unhealthy fat and not enough healthy fat and have similar effects?
You could get too much unhealthy fat, and there's probably a systemic health problem. But in terms of the way that you look, it's not going to be much different. That's more of a total calories and macros kind of thing. So if you got, crappy saturated fats that were not healthy for you, in your McDonald's or something like that versus eating the healthiest fats. Like as long as the total amount of calories from it, if you got 100 grams of fat in one from McDonald's and 100 grams of fat from like olive oil, there's not going to be a huge difference in the way you look. Like that part's not going to change much. It's more of the calories and the macros total. There is probably some health indicators. That's where the benefits of whole food come in. There's probably some health benefits beyond the way you look, whereas why you should eat olive oil instead of McDonald's and why you should eat whole foods and not just processed foods. But most of the people that are out there don't really care about that. They just want to look better, So they need to get it straight. They just need to know what's important.
Yeah.
Like you can still reach your goals and eat stuff that you like. You don't have to do it the way that everybody tells you to do it. So that's what I would say.
Yeah.
You can factor in, like my wife, when she was dieting for bodybuilding shows, most of it was whole foods, but every single night she had like a handful of chocolate chips. And that was like her dessert. It was factored into her macros. And so she would do that. And sometimes we had so much extra fat with some protein. It was like very little carbs, but we had a lot of fat and a lot of protein left. And we would make it's just like melted cheese things. When you're dieting, like you get a little melted cheese and you like crisp it up and make like a little cheese snack out of it. It tasted so good whenever you're dieting.
Sure, yeah.
But it doesn't matter that much. That's what I'm saying. As long as the macros hit, that's really what matters. So like there's a pyramid of what matters. Calories are at the bottom. That's for weight loss or muscle building. I'd say calories, muscle building, you'd have to say protein is really the bottom, but calories, then macros. is the next one up. And then it would be food sources in terms of like what's most important, the bottom being the most important. Calories is going to dictate weight loss, muscle gain, things like that. Macros will make that better and change the physique that you have. And then the food sources will be the cherry on top. So start with calories if you don't understand macros. Once you understand calories, move to macros. Once you understand all that, you can switch into healthier food sources if you want. That's the way I would do it.
I gotcha.
Yep.
Just kind of like the entire process is kind of systemically building.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, I mean, that's at least what I've been trying to do. A lot of people try to jump in like completely head first. And I had to like take part, like a little time off of lifting because I had ended up competing in a jiu-jitsu tournament and I just didn't want to like be sore tight or anything. So I think the tournament's on a Saturday and I last like actual lifting workout was on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah.
Wednesday because I figured if I did it Thursday and it was sore, Saturday would be my worst day.
Probably.
So, yeah. So I think I quit that Wednesday and just made sure to eat a lot of food and whatnot. And it worked out really well. I just think, like I said, a lot of people just try to just go all in at once and it's just establishing like a new regular.
Yeah.
You know?
You can go all in at once and you can be successful with it for sure. It's just more likely that somebody that does that's going to fail.
Yeah.
That's just it. I can jump all in, change my entire life tomorrow. And for the most part, I have no problem with it because, I had enough willpower to stick to the diet. Like I wanted it bad enough. Like if you have the motivation, you can do that.
Yeah.
If you don't have the motivation, like it's the wrong approach. So it really depends on the person and motivation doesn't last. So it's got to be like a dominant thing in your life that you're like really obsessed with how you look. And then you can change everything. No problem.
Yep. Yes, I agree. I had another topic that I kind of wanted to talk about, and this kind of goes into like the importance of, I guess, probably more like whole food choices and like healthy choices instead of just like calories and macros and whatnot. It's kind of more for like the holistic view.
Yeah.
And that is cancer and diabetes in the United States.
Okay.
I have some interesting statistics here that I'd like to share with you guys. In the United States, approximately 1.9 million new cancer cases were estimated to be diagnosed in the year 2021. So that's damn near 300 million population. You got 1.9 million. It's what, like 10% or less?
Did he say 10%?
There was a lot of math.
Sorry,
330.
It'd be 2%.
It'd be less than 2% because you're doing 330 million.
I was thinking closer to 1%.
It'd be a little over 1. It'd be
1% would be what, like you're like 3 million, something like that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, cancer's not decreasing.
No.
To be fair, I don't know the stat. Which one you want to?
Yeah, I think he was saying before we brought this up that it was like cancer's almost doubled in the last like 12 years or something like that.
It's the second leading cause of death in the United States, accounting for nearly 1 in 4 deaths.
Yeah, so it's a pretty big
number
deal.
one?
I would assume car accidents or fentanyl,
heart disease.
I would assume. I was going to guess heart disease, but I don't know for sure. That's why I was curious.
Heart disease.
Yeah, I'm right.
It goes heart disease, cancer, and then COVID-19.
Okay,
It's the third cause of death. Okay,
for sure.
Yeah.
So that's when they were sticking that tag on everybody's toe whenever they died.
Yeah.
There's still boosters, by the way.
Yep.
If you're not fully updated,
you should go.
You're part of the problem. Silence violence.
You should go ahead and update your booster shots.
Yeah, just
do everybody a favor here.
Yeah.
So you're aware,
because there hasn't been any indications of like that causing cancer.
No, I don't think. I don't know how much they've shown on that one. I know in Sweden and in Finland they have pulled them back because of the heart issues that they've encountered, cardiomyopathy and things, I think is what it is.
Yeah.
Well, they found that they're actually contaminated with DNA.
I saw something like that just recently that they're finding DNA in there, which would be very interesting, especially for the Jews and the Muslims and the Christians and the people that would have been
like
very
the
opposed
literal reason religious exemptions exist for vaccines, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah, because they're going to put something in there that you don't know. Like, and if you're a devout, faithful Muslim or a Jew or something, and there's certain things you don't touch, you don't eat, you don't get around, like, well, it's pretty hard for the government to force that into your body. But
it didn't seem hard 18 months ago.
It. They tried. Yeah. They tried to force it into you. But as Americans, they still stood strong.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that. If I'm not wrong, I want to say 75% of Americans got the vaccine. So I don't know if that's staying strong.
Oh, I'd say 25% is a huge fucking number. I'd say to not get it, to resist, the sheer peer pressure and force of the entire government and societal media to tell you to go do something. If one in four people didn't do it, I'd say that's a huge answer.
I'm not saying you're wrong. I would be curious to know our rates with other countries' rates.
That's fair. This is probably a little more detailed than we can pull out at the,
I was about to say
moment.
These could be a.
I'd say that's I'm not against. I'm not an anti vaccine kind of guy for the most part or anything. But yeah, we know you are.
Oh, this is hilarious. You know how many, and this is December 28th, 2021. You know how many people were the percentage of vaccination, or the percentage of the population they claim was vaccinated by December 28th, 2021?
What?
85%.
Yeah, I don't believe it.
There's no way.
Yeah, bro. That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's bullshit. There's no way.
No, because it's just the sheer amount of people. I don't live in that much of a bubble, and the sheer amount of people that I know. But on the other hand, they were forcing everybody's hands. I mean, if you're in the military, you're going to get fired. If you're a teacher, you're going to get fired. If you're a cop, you're going to get fired. If you're doing anything where the government's involved or your employer decided they didn't like you and they wanted you to take the vax, you're involved. Turns out, all the promises they made were bullshit. And, you need your 12th booster now and things like that. And it was a great time. I miss COVID. Hopefully they do it again sometime. So.
I think they might.
I think they loved the response. So the next time it'll be the one that kills
it's got to
be.
Though. I know we could talk about this forever. I'll make it quick. But the bottom line with COVID is it's got to be frustrating for the people to be pro science, pro everyone else's health, pro caring.
Yeah.
To be wrong.
It does. It does suck.
That's the real crux of the COVID problem. Is those people who say they care about you, they want to raise funds, the government needs to allocate all this money for you. They were wrong.
It turns out they were wrong.
Yeah.
And
that's a tough pill to swallow.
The means, again, let me put this, the ends did not justify the means in our situation. They wanted the end to justify the means. If you get this, we'll shove it down your throat to save your life. And, if you're too stupid to do it yourself, we're going to force you to do it. Turns out they were wrong.
Dude, parading around their elderly grandparents is a fucking argument.
Yeah,
no,
how embarrassing.
What I find is embarrassing is because is that they try to make the argument. Oh, we're trying to save grandma. We're trying to save grandma. Well, grandma's dying by herself of COVID-19, and nobody else is allowed in the room. I can't think of anything worse than just dying alone by myself.
Yeah, they did that. They definitely couldn't handle the situation like that. So.
No, and
they had their heart. They lost the heart as much as they wanted to act like they had it in the hospital situations.
Very disappointing. Sure. And to be honest with you, one of the things that bothers me the most about it is the people that threw around the word science so willy-nilly for 2 years.
You want to know my favorite code story? I don't know if I told you this. So December 2021 or January 21, right? My wife was in the hospital because she had an appendicitis, appendix that burst. Complications during the surgery. She had to go in for a second surgery, and then they had to move something around in her and detach her intestines from her colon and reattach it somewhere else. So she stayed for 6 days, right? So I go and I visit her every day in the hospital. Only one person's allowed. Nobody else is allowed in the room. So only one person. I was the only person that could come every single day. So my kids couldn't come see her. Nobody could come. One time I go to, the flower shop, buy some flowers. I'm not much of a flower guy. So made the attempt, buy my wife some flowers. She's in the hospital. I want to take them in. So I'm taking them into the hospital, and I get stopped by the receptionist. She's like, wait, sorry, you can't go in there. And I was like, oh, why not? She's like, oh, you can't take those flowers in there. I'm like, well, I'm not a delivery guy. These are for my wife. Yeah, because of COVID-19, you can't take those in there. And I was like, why can't I? What do you mean? She's like, COVID-19, it's a virus. And I was like, yeah, thanks. I understand it's a virus. Are you saying that COVID-19 is in my flowers? Right. And so she's like, you can't bring those in there. You're going to have to take those back. And so I said, okay, can I talk to your boss? Can I talk to whoever's running the hospital?
You went full Karen. Give me a manager.
I just want to hear the explanation, because she was saying that I could not bring flowers in because of COVID. And I assumed a delivery guy couldn't go in because of COVID. That would make sense. He might have something. He doesn't need to go into the hospital, but I'm going into the hospital anyway. Every single day I'm in the hospital and I'm seeing my wife. So I'm not spreading something that wouldn't already be there. So it's got to be the flowers. Right. So I wait and I talk to the hospital administrator, and I was just, okay, explain. Yeah, ever since COVID started, we just don't allow people to bring flowers in anymore. And I was just like, you think there's COVID in the flowers? He's like, no, I get it. I'm a flower guy too. I have a garden. I love flowers. I love all this stuff. And so I looked at him. And seriously, I said, so do you think your flowers have COVID in them? And he looked at me and he was just didn't know what to say.
Yeah, like what are you going to say to something so stupid?
And
to be fair,
to get to the end of it, he wouldn't budge. He's like, it's just the policy of the hospital since COVID, it's the policy. Like and I said, okay, I understand that it's a policy and you may not be in charge of changing the policy. You just have to enforce the policy. I can get that. What I need for you right now for this to work out is I need you to tell me that you think that there's COVID in the flowers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And the guy finally admitted that it was ridiculous and there was not COVID in the flowers, but it was the hospital's policy. And so I did hear an actual explanation. If he would have told me this explanation in the beginning, they would have made sense, right? Because we were talking to the nurses about it later. And they said, you bring in flowers and somebody starts sneezing. And everybody starts worrying that somebody has COVID-19 because they're sneezing all the time. And so it makes everybody paranoid. And I'm like, okay, if you want to pull it all the way to like allergies from flowers and that you don't want people to sneeze because of the flowers, then maybe I can understand your point. And if you could have told me that it makes people paranoid because people start sneezing. And everybody thinks they got COVID whenever they start sneezing.
They don't owe you that though. They don't feel like they owe you that.
They didn't know that. That was a nurse. So that's like pulling it out of like, they didn't have a reason for banning flowers. It was just COVID was the greatest reason to be the hall pass monitors they always wanted to be in their lives. And the hall pass monitors came out in full force during COVID-19 and tried to tell you how to live your life. And luckily they were met with plenty of resistance, but they wanted so badly to tell you, this is where you stand. This is how you ask. This is what you do. And this is how you live your life. And if you don't abide by our rules, you won't be allowed in society anymore. And that's what the hall pass monitors wanted. And the hall pass monitors are trying to run the government. And
that's what I mean. It's a tough look because they always want to say you want to be on the right side of history, right?
And they were not.
Dude, it's such an ugly look to be on the wrong side of history.
People asking for the papers. And the people not allowing you to go to restaurants in New York City without your Vax card and things like that. They were fucking wrong.
If you don't think that
they were as wrong as they could fucking be too. That's the craziest part. So
people in Germany in the 40s, very similar thoughts, man. Yeah. Just shut up and do what you're told for the greater good,
dude. And
pussies.
It's crazy how many lives it's affected.
Oh yeah.
Because for example, my wife had to get vaccinated just due to she was a teacher.
For sure.
And,
I understand. There's a lot of people that it was legitimately lose your livelihood or take the jab. And so I understand there's no doubt that they forced a lot of people's hands to do something that they wouldn't have necessarily done if it was their choice. I think if it was just like, hey guys, the shingles vaccine's out right now. You should go get it. And everybody's like, nah, I don't need a shingles vaccine. Same with the COVID-19. I think would have been similar even if everybody and their mom was getting it.
Dude, think about the distrust they have. Like they
destroyed it.
Yeah,
100%. The medical industry will be suffering from this for a long period of time, and the only answer is radical transparency in every way. And you're not going to get it because the people that make the most money are the highest level officials that are working with the pharmaceutical companies. And so you work for the FDA. Well, when you're done, there's a job at Pfizer for you, and you're going to make millions. And so what do you do when you're in the FDA? You hook up the Pfizer guys because you're going to get a payout when you get done. It's all the biggest, most crooked crony capitalism system you've ever met. So maybe not ever. There's probably worse.
It's not.
There's probably worse.
It's not good.
Yeah.
It just keeps getting more extreme. But
I do love it though. It was the best. It was the greatest hoax. And not that COVID, and when I say hoax, it was not that COVID was killing people. It was just the way they went about handling the entire situation.
It just shows what happens when you act out of emotion instead of like actual reason.
Yeah, but on the same side, like the people that were resisting were definitely acting out of emotion too.
Yeah, everybody.
Like, there's a strong part of me that says, "You tell me what to do, fuck yourself." I'm not going to do it. Just out of the sheer principle of like the resistance of like rebellion of Americans.
That's not the problem I had though. The problem I had was everyone saying you're wrong.
Yeah.
If both sides were adamant, were like, we don't know, no one would have had a problem.
At my kids' school, they would let kids that were vaccinated stay even after they had a positive COVID. They would let them not quarantine themselves and keep going to class.
There's no money in national immunity
because they got the vax so they could go to class still.
Yeah.
And so I then presented the administrators the study from the CDC's website that said the viral load from the nostrils of a person infected with COVID-19 with the vax is the same amount as an unvaccinated person. CDC's website says that if you have it, you're going to spread it. Because that was the lie that they told you for a long time, is that, well, if you get vaxxed, you're not going to spread it to other people, right? You're going to at least not going to spread it when you get COVID-19. turns out that wasn't true. They had studies on this, like in 2020, testing that, or 2021 or whenever, testing this after the vax came out, and they didn't give a fuck, man. They never did. The rules were the rules, and they did not care about logic. They didn't care about studies on the CDC's website. They didn't care about anything. They didn't care about the risks to children, which were virtually zero. You looked at the amount of kids dying from COVID was like less than probably the amount of kids dying.
You had
from,
to like find one.
Yeah. Less than, it was less than the flu. It was like the flu for kids. Like it was the same thing. Like kids die, more from drowning in bathtubs than they did from COVID-19. So,
dude, I just think it's ridiculous because we honestly sacrifice. It seems like we sacrifice like a younger generation to save an older generation.
Yeah.
Right. And that just doesn't make any.
One way to look at it.
That doesn't make any sense. Think of the world shutting down in the middle of school for these kids. A lot of them went from second grade, they're in-person classrooms, everything's normal. Then they don't go back to normal school till 4th, 5th grade.
Yeah,
it
was the only way they could get their agenda across, because they knew that you take the people that are most at risk and you get them away from everybody else. And then the people that are not at risk, you let them go about living their lives and dealing with it and taking on the immunity. And that's how we deal with the herd immunity. They knew this going into it. But instead of saying, okay, get the grandmas and stay away and don't see your grandma and live your normal life, they tried to lock everybody up. They're like, well, it's not fair that grandma has to be locked up.
Because they're all the age of grandma.
That's probably true. That's probably true. It's not fair that grandma has to be locked up. Everybody should be under the same. It's like, no, we know grandma can die. So you need to keep grandma away. But that the 18-year-old kid that's, drinking out of, the beer pong cup that's like been bounced on the ground over and over, and it's like get all the germs and everything, and they're sharing the drinks with 13 other people. They're not going to die from COVID-19. There was almost no kids that were 18 that did. And so you let those people take it on and develop the herd immunity and develop all the immunities to the system. Then it's not going to spread as easily to them. They knew this shit. They just, you can't sell more drugs that way.
Yeah.
It's really what
bad
it
to
is.
say. There's no money in that,
Yeah.
but man, it's life always finds a way. Jeff Goldblum.
Yep. That's right. Jurassic Park.
That's right.
But back to cancer.
Back to cancer.
Yeah, that was a long.
The whole thing with cancer, I think you're just kind of fucked. Like, I don't really know what to tell you. Like,
well,
do you have any strong correlations to fight cancer?
An estimated 40% of cancer cases are preventable and linked to lifestyle factors such as smoking, poor diet, lack of physical activity, and excessive sun exposure.
Okay. So those are all things that I'm good with.
The sun exposure, I can probably say I'm good with. There's a lot of genetic predispositions, I'm pretty sure, to cancer. But to be fair, there's nothing that you said that surprises me. You smoke, got a better chance. Out in the sun, you got a better chance. Poor diet, you got a better chance. Not active, you got a better chance. So
those are all pretty basic, though.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to say. Like, what negates cancer? It's like, well, just living a better, everything about your life being better. You know what I mean? Like it's a tough topic to tackle.
There's probably too much going on. Obviously, we're not the educated people to really like tackle the cancer topic here. But I think you find that there are things. Obviously, exercise decreases your cancer risk. Eating the proper diet will help. That's probably one of those caloric restriction cases where the caloric restriction is, again, I think more important than the food source. But the food source also comes into play. And I would take on that research pretty easily with food sources versus caloric restriction, because I think a lot of it is the diabetes connection that you were going to, and that was the diabetes cancer connection was pretty strong, and the diabetes is from overeating, and so you get the overeating food, not so much. Like, one of the things that they've studied is the cancer fighting benefits of fasting, right? And there's a benefit to how much, I don't know. But there's a benefit to fasting, and there's a benefit to fasting for long periods of time, where your body then will start to replenish itself and, mess with, some of the things that need to be broken down and replaced. And it's like your body starts doing a better job when you're fasting, because it's not doing everything that's going on. It changes like the state that it's in. So there's plenty of this kind of stuff that's out there. But I think the easiest thing that you can do is just say that you have to just eat healthy, stay active, stay a healthy body weight, and don't do anything, obviously, like smoking, smoking cigarettes and things like that on a daily basis are not going to help you.
It's like people talk about like ways to lower their heart rate or like reduce stress. It's like more sleep.
Yeah. Sleep more, eat healthier.
Drink more water.
Yeah. Stop eating the junk. You know what you're doing.
People say they're boring, but you know what, man? It is boring, but it's also something that you can stop doing really quickly.
Yeah.
Like I use this example. It's gross, but it's so true. I used to brush my teeth all the time. When I got to college, man, I probably brushed my teeth 4 times. 4 years.
That's pretty
my
bad.
teeth aren't that bad now, to be fair. They're not. I'm no model, but
How funny.
But my point is it's just a routine, man.
It is.
It really is, and it's something easy that you can fall in or fall out of really quick.
For sure. Yeah. I don't think we're not gonna figure out the secrets of cancer or anything like that. But reducing your risk, I think, is pretty obvious based off what he talked about, and it's everything that we're about.
And reducing your child's risk because it is the leading cause of death in children.
Leading cause. Okay.
Yes. Let me make sure I did not. Yeah.
I mean, it's not heart disease because it's not developed yet. So I'm sure
it is the leading cause of death by disease among children in the United States. Of approximately 11,000 new cases annually under the age of 18. Or under the age of 15.
What's the cancer rate in America compared to in another country?
I think he said Europe was higher.
Europe has a higher cancer rate.
The SIGs, right?
Which negates some of the food quality. Like you get a lot of what they would consider higher food quality in Europe.
But you also look at the increased tobacco use.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They do. Yeah, they definitely are more.
Yeah, no, they smoke
coffee and cigs, bro. The European breakfast. A great European breakfast.
They're so civilized over there.
Oh yeah, beans for breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so countries with the highest. Yeah, so this is actually interesting.
Tuesday, isn't it?
So
Tuesday.
I
can resist.
So number 1 is Denmark for high rates of breast and lung cancer.
Okay,
that's got to be the SIGs.
It's got to be the SIGs. Australia, skin cancer, which makes sense. You take a bunch of Europeans and you throw them in the southern hemisphere, and New Zealand, it's same issue, I think.
Wow.
Belgium, Norway. So Belgium is lung.
So who's got the lowest?
Oh, we're getting there.
That makes sense though, because they're all small, homogenous populations.
Yep.
Okay.
Well, the Northern Australia is not, but like the other ones are pretty small.
5 is Norway. Factors such as tobacco use, increased obesity rates. United States is number 6. It's obesity, smoking, and environmental exposure. Causes to have significant cancer rates in breast, prostate, and lungs.
Environmental exposure.
The environmental would be interesting.
Compared to the other, isn't Norway like in the north, like a very clean part of the world?
Yeah, well, I'm saying like I would think that the heat and like the UV rays, like this in the southern United States, is what they're contributing, like the environmental cause to.
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, I mean environment. That'd be skin cancer. Would just be your UV rays and things like that. That'd be skin cancer. But like your other cancers, there's some evidence in things like, the carcinogens that are burned into the air whenever you're burning a candle and shit like that, or when you're spraying something that smells. Like these things.
That's totally fair. I wasn't even trying to like start a debate. I was just more curious about like what do you think those causes are, because that's an interesting.
That's why I was like, which ones have the lowest cancer rate?
I have those right here actually, and I just pulled those up and. It can be challenging due to variations reporting, data availability, and differing healthcare systems, just to point that out there. And I find the ones that are the lowest cancer rate hilarious because I don't think this is accurate.
Let's hear it.
Sub-Saharan Africa is number 1.
Okay.
Just has that categorized there as Sub-Saharan Africa, which I just think they like. At that point, you're not aging enough to have cancer because it's an aging disease, kind of.
Yeah, I don't really know.
Could be the chicken and the egg, but keep going.
Yeah,
I hear you. Sub-Saharan Africa, least.
Bhutan.
Okay.
I think that's
I don't know
close to Sub-Saharan Africa.
Mozambique.
Give us some ones that we know.
Laos and Nepal.
Okay, Nepal, Laos. Okay.
Okay.
So African and Asian countries, I'm assuming, is where
that's what it looks like.
I think I've always thought the high diet in fish, like Japan and all those kind of people, I think that has a pretty good correlation because Japan is like one of the oldest populations out there too. All right, I'm getting 10 more real quick.
It's hard to eat so much fish and rice that you get fat.
Cambodia, Rwanda, Uganda, Afghanistan, Haiti.
Afghanistan. Wow.
Yeah, these are all lower. That's what I'm saying. I just don't think they're reporting.
Yeah.
I just don't think
It's totally. I mean, it's impossible to prove.
I think your best would be taking first world countries and comparing first world countries like, is Japan, China, how do they relate to the United States and the rest of us?
Yeah.
And if they had a consistently lower amount, then I think you should look probably into like what he's talking about, a little bit of the food source. But you go to like Norway and places like that, I think their food's pretty good.
That's
I
my
got
point, though.
So
is
it
that,
can't be the foods and things.
I'm not saying environmental factors don't exist. I would just love to see those isolated.
Now this is so the top 3. I'll just do top 5 actually. So for lowest cancer rates for first world countries, number 1 is Japan.
Okay.
Iceland.
Okay.
Switzerland.
Yep.
Sweden and Finland.
Okay, those are the lowest and all those. That's interesting. Okay.
That makes sense.
In Luxembourg,
But
Netherlands.
Norway's so high. That's a little fascinating.
Yeah, I don't know the difference. So
They're not far
this is
away
not
at all.
not a fruitful conversation here. So. You just you get outside, you do some exercise, get in the sun, eat healthy-ish. You'll be all right.
You'll be all right. You're
don't
good.
smell. Don't smoke cigarettes. That's probably your best bet there. But I imagine that we're at the point in time when you're not going to be able to stay away from something that's going to jack your system up. There's even studies that cooking your meat at too high of a temperature creates carcinogens. And so
I've heard that before.
So I'm not going to stop grilling my meat.
If you sit around a campfire, you're inhaling carcinogens.
Yeah.
Eventually, it's okay. Well,
Just pick your carcinogens.
This is interesting. So, where do you think has the highest rates of diabetes?
America.
Nope, we are number 9.
Really?
Mhm.
Who's number 1?
Oh, Europe probably. I would
Mm-mm.
imagine.
Saudi Arabia is number 1.
Really?
Yep. Such as lifestyle, high obesity rate. Apparently, there's a lot of fat people in Saudi Arabia. I wasn't aware. UAE is number 2.
Yeah.
Qatar is number 3. Kuwait is number 4. Egypt.
Really?
Yep. Then we go down to Mexico, India, China, United States at 9, 10 Brazil.
I wonder why.
That's got to be
I'd
dietary. 100%.
Well, yeah, it's dietary. I'd have to. There may be some preconditions genetically to the type of people or something like that too.
Sure.
But I would have to ask all my Arab friends and just be like, what are they eating over there, like to make them? Is it like sweets? Is it like the fast food? Is like what are they eating over there? So
I think it looks like the oil money countries.
well, yeah, they got plenty of money if they're in UAE and living the life,
I'm asking it. Let's figure this out.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Probably too many sweets.
Yeah.
Too many candies.
Rapid urbanization.
Okay. That's not helpful.
Huh?
That's not helpful.
What do you mean? That's not. That's very helpful.
It's not helpful.
That's how they gain more weight?
Yeah. No, what do you mean? That's like going for rapid urbanization. That's the same issue you've seen with the United States starting in the 90s. I mean, not rapid urbanization in that way, but it's like they're coming more into like first world.
Yeah, but
and
that? Why does that beat America? Like we already have the urbanization. We're already here. There's McDonald's in every corner. Why are they beating America? That's what I'm saying. That's not helpful.
That's fair. I mean, yeah, that's something
I can go eat a bag of candy if all day, every day if I wanted to, and just it's not even like 200 feet away from me. Go over to Quick Trip, give myself a bag of candy, and just that's all I eat for the day.
So it's saying that genetic predisposition.
Okay, that's what I was curious about.
And the fact, and it keeps saying that because the diet was changed, like this is what like like pretty quickly, rapidly.
Sure. Yeah,
that is a cause too.
Yeah, so I could see. I mean, if their bodies are not, if there's already a genetic predisposition for diabetes or something and not handling blood sugar well, and then they suddenly get all sorts of calories and new food sources and things from, rapid urbanization or something. Maybe that would, but it's not, it really points more to a genetic predisposition than it does the rapid urbanization. I'd be curious. There are certain types of people that are more likely to get type 2 diabetes and things that are at risk and certain populations and that kind of thing.
It's the softest excuse of all time.
Yeah. Let's move on. Let's move on. I've had enough diabetes and cancer talk. We don't have the answer is stay active, stay skinny, and eat real food. I think that's
our next topic is
answer.
Your favorite Christmas candy or dessert.
That's what I'm talking about. See, the mistake that people would have is thinking that candy itself is what's going to cause you diabetes. It's not the candy that causes you diabetes. It's the sheer amount of candy over a long fucking period of time. Like you can eat candy every single day if you want to eat candy every single day, and you will not get diabetes unless they're, barring some sort of, you know, unforeseen, God intervenes and gives you diabetes. But for type 2 diabetes, you can eat candy every single day. It's the amount of calories, it's how you move your body, it's how you eat the rest of the time. So let's dig into the candies. So what are our options for Christmas candies and cookies?
Ooh, so
Candy canes is where this starts.
Yeah, I guess candy cane.
Candy canes are a not even a real candy.
I was about to say,
just drop them.
I would say they're overrated, but most people don't love candy canes. I think we're just all.
Nah, I'll take a sour candy cane though. Like when you get the Starburst candy canes.
Ooh, like the rainbow ones.
Yeah, the rainbow ones.
Yeah,
I'll take that.
I mean, I'll eat it. Well, I think
it's not in my top 5. Let's do top 5. Like John. Let's hear your top 5 candy or cookies or Christmas treats.
I mean, sugar cookies.
Okay,
definitely got to be number 1.
Okay,
it's pretty safe.
Going for cookies. All
decorating.
Right. Yeah.
Well, just for Christmas, that's what comes to my mind. There's no Christmas cakes.
That's
okay.
Unless they're the little Debbies that look like Christmas cakes,
like a Yule log.
I mean, I love zebra cakes.
But like a Yule log.
Yule log?
What's a Yule log?
That's what that is.
It's like a Christmas cake?
Yeah.
That's what you're talking about?
Yeah, like a Yule log.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a Christmas cake.
You can't trust anything.
Yeah, I'll have to take your word for it.
Yeah, like a Yule log. Like a lot. Like it's a little log with like a little cream inside of it.
It looks like a giant like Swiss cake roll or something.
Yeah, like
I know.
He's trying to show us he can't do it. It's not going to work.
A pumpkin, like a spice roll?
Yeah, it's like a pumpkin spice roll.
Yeah, like a Yoli log. Yeah,
sure. If that's on your top 5,
I would say that is pretty delicious.
I'm not going to complain about that. I'll go top 3 because I'm having trouble thinking of 5 overall. I'll go sugar cookies number 1. I'll go the cinnamon stuff. I feel like there's a lot of cinnamon rolls. Like,
ooh, yeah, cinnamon.
I don't know if that's technically a Christmas thing, but at least in my family it is.
Cinnamon roll, I'll give you that. I'll give you cinnamon roll.
I'll go sugar cookies number 1, cinnamon rolls number 2, and
some cinnamon rolls and chili sounds good. I just said that.
Yeah, no thanks.
I don't know. I feel like maybe it's kind of boring, I guess, but just candy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really not that exciting. Like Christmas sweets sound much better. I do like a are they Christmas though? Like that's the white chocolate pretzels.
Those are awesome. Almond bark pretzels.
Almond bark pretzels are going to be one of my number 1s.
I'll absolutely eat some of those.
Even regular chocolate, just any almond bark of any type on my pretzels.
Like
is
peppermint?
Delicious. I'll take the peppermint on there. In that situation, I'll eat them for sure. Yeah, there's a dark chocolate peppermint snack that we get. That's just dark chocolate. That's peppermint. Like that's pretty good. I'll eat those. So chocolates is probably like number 1 when it comes to Christmas. You get your chocolates.
Yeah.
What else is there? Like, is there anything like?
So there's peppermint bark, gingerbread cookies, candy canes.
Okay, there we go.
Gingerbread. I was thinking of the sugar cookies, but gingerbread.
Peppermint bark is a solid option. I love peppermint bark. Gingerbread cookies are okay, but I'm like not reaching.
It's more fun to make the houses than it is to eat the cookies.
No, I never had a fruitcake.
I think fruitcake is awful.
Everybody says that it's disgusting, so I don't think I've ever tried it.
Some people love it.
Yeah.
Eggnog.
Eggnog good. Eggnogg's up there for sure.
I'll have 1 glass of eggnog 1 year, like a year.
That's pretty. I have like 2 or 3. Yeah, I don't have much. Hot chocolate for sure.
Like 6 roasted nuts.
I love the roasted nuts,
dude. Nifty Nut House, bro.
Cinnamon. The cinnamon.
Yeah, hey, go support local business.
Yeah, well, I love Nifty Nut House.
Yeah, I like.
You might not.
Yeah, you might not if you hate capitalism. Yeah. But
they are not fond of the unhoused. But fantastic prices.
The cinnamon roasted, almonds and pecans though. Like a cinnamon roasted pecan is about the best you can get. Like we went to Shields the other day.
Yeah,
and they had,
that's exactly.
You remember the mall when they had like the smell? You could see them like roasting them.
I have some of those in a cup holder in my car right now because my wife gets those all the time, and I'll just like.
I don't think there's much better than those. Like I'll put those up against almost anything in terms of
the
cinnamon pecans. That's roasted cinnamon pecans. They come in the the bag that's like.
I like them. I'm sure other people like them more. They're solid.
You know where I used to get those all the time is whenever I'd go to like the trade shows at like Century 2 with my dad, like the Home and Garden show or like the RV show or whatever.
The mall, man. That's where we used to get them all the time. Was the mall?
Oh yeah. In the mall, like I would think of those like Century 2 shows or the fairs. I was just like, that's my shit. Or like turkey legs. Oh
yeah. The cinnamon. That's probably my number 1 of a long period of time. Number 2, peppermint bark. Number 3. What did I say earlier?
Cranberry white chocolate oatmeal cookies are my. Oh, dude, I love me some.
Yeah.
Cranberry's underrated.
Dude, I'm telling you, cranberry and raisins
Yeah.
are great. Like, I love oatmeal raisin cookies. Like, oh,
I do like cranberries.
I would
but
like to unleash the cranberries out of December. I don't know if
I don't
I'm
think
the only
you're
one.
getting into my top 5 with anything like that though.
That's fair. I'm just saying, as in general, like cranberries just underrated.
My wife's gonna listen to this and she's gonna be like, "You didn't even say this thing."
what about macaroons?
Macaroons are good.
What's a macaroon?
Is it a macaroon or a macaron?
I don't know how to say it.
I don't either.
A
so.
macaroon, I think.
I don't even know.
My kid corrects me whenever I'm like, they're like, "These aren't macaroons, these are macarons."
Like, shut up.
I have no idea what that is. somebody listening, please help.
You gonna ride somewhere, Braden?
Just likes to correct everything that you do. That's kids.
Dude, mine, like the South Park one where they go, they took her nerves. You know, they do that. Dude, I got my son doing that now. So
Really?
I started saying that like yesterday for something. I was like quoting it to my wife because she had never seen it.
Yeah.
And then, from the backseat, all I hear is this little 2-year-old, they took her nerves. I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah. Don't repeat anything. Just careful.
To tie a bow on it though, the Christmas candies is a tough one. I don't even know if like Christmas meals though. Like, what is it a thing?
Yeah, I'm sure
I feel
there
like everyone
is.
does something different. I'm
Isn't
not
it
hating
like-
on
Oh
that.
no, I think Christmas, like we're probably going to IHOP this year. You know,
Heck yeah.
I think my
Dude.
family's out of town, so like my immediate family, we're not fancy people.
Hey, you need to go to Golden Corral.
Golden Corral, we could do Golden Corral,
Golden
whatever's
Corral.
open. IHOP on Christmas is like, it is what it is. You don't have to clean.
Yeah. Like,
it's delicious. You know.
so it kind of depends on your culture, right? Like for your Christmas dinner. Cause,
Yeah.
I know like for, my childhood was like, church's chicken or whatever's open on Christmas.
Yeah.
And then like my wife grew up like, her parents are from El Salvador. So for Thanksgiving, they keep it more traditional, like turkey and stuff like that. But once Christmas, they get more like pupusas,
El
tamales,
Salvadorian.
El Salvadorian, more traditional.
Pupusas, huh?
Yeah.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah, we'll bring you some.
Okay.
Shout out Delmy. If you're watching this, Delmy, we would love some pupusas.
I would love some. Papoose me, bro.
Yeah, papoose me.
So many pupusas.
I'll down. I'll try it.
Yeah,
I ate grasshoppers, man. I'm ready to try.
I'll do
I'm ready to
anything. I'll try anything. So yeah, what is like
Except
a
for
Christmas dinner?
octopus.
I mean, we literally have the same thing as Thanksgiving.
We really
almost,
have.
but,
It's pretty much Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's ham instead of turkey, though.
everyone does something different, but it's not gonna.
My favorite is actually breakfast and Christmas Day. Christmas breakfast is where it's at.
Oh, wait,
That's
are you
what-
like a turkey or like I just thought it's like a turkey or like a prime rib kind of Christmas dinner kind of guy?
I'd be more prime rib, but
Donna loves breakfast. She does the quiche and the
the
cinnamon
quiche.
rolls,
Oh, I love the quiche. Love the
Biscuit-
cinnamon rolls.
biscuits and gravy, bro.
Dude,
My
does she
mom-
make the quiche herself or does she go and get
Of
it?
course she
Don't
does.
ever question.
Of course she
Don't
does.
ever question Donna like that again.
My mom makes these
Don't ever do that.
Danish kind of things, but it's basically you take a crescent roll and you take out like one of the triangles, and then you put cream cheese in there, and then you put pie filling on top of it, and you like wrap it up.
You should totally
and
put Nutella in there.
Nutella would be a great option too. Yeah, but like mine, like blueberry or cherry or something
Sounds
with
fantastic.
cream cheese in there.
Yeah,
It's-
absolutely.
I gorge myself every time. Bacon, cinnamon rolls. Give me some of those. Like give me a little breakfast pizza or whatever it is. I'm done.
Breakfast pizza.
I don't need to eat anything for the rest of the day if you give me that stuff. Like
You-
I'll be full until like 8:00 at night.
Give me some Casey's breakfast pizza.
Yeah.
Yeah, give me some Bagatelle Bakery quiche
Okay.
and sweets and yeah, that's all I need. I'll make the prime rib myself.
Okay. Okay.
It's a pretty good way. For some reason, I don't eat as much on Christmas. I
Yeah.
don't know why. And maybe, this year it'll be different. Get the Monday Christmas thing.
Yeah. Monday's weird.
Yeah.
Weird Christmas day, but
By far the worst day to have Christmas.
So
Okay.
what about New Year's? Like it's coming up. Do you suggest like trying to get a head start on it on the gym crowd or like
I mean the best time to start was yesterday was the best time to start on your fitness goals. But if you're not on them already, today's the day. So that's what I would say. I would say anybody that's serious about changing their life does it immediately. If you're putting it off, you're not that serious about it. Like it doesn't mean you have to go all in right now, but like if you're really serious about like my New Year's resolution, I'm going to do it on January 1st. Like why aren't you doing something right now? That's the way I would look at it. And I think that's the indicator. People that wait till Monday are the people that are not very successful. If you're going to start, today's Thursday, I'm getting on my diet today. Fucking get on your diet today. Like what's stopping you? So
I do find, I must admit, I'm very guilty of it myself. That's how I know for sure. The amount of times I've been like, oh man, I'm just got so much going on. I'm so busy. like, yeah, committing to certain things like all the time might be kind of exhausting.
Yeah.
But I could do little things here and there
For sure.
all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. And I think if people were honest with themselves, they would agree with the exact same thing.
Absolutely.
You might not be able to start running 5 miles every day starting tomorrow, but you can go get in some steps while you're on the phone.
Yeah, if you decide every day you're gonna go for a walk after dinner or something like that, or every day you're gonna go and do this one small thing, at least you're starting. You know, that's the way I look at it.
And if you don't do it all the time, guess what? You're not a failure, and you don't have to stop doing it either.
Yeah. No, the people that are successful are not the people that wait to get started. Only times they are is whenever it's a pre-planned, like, this is my strategy and my goal, and it's like a bodybuilder. You know, I'm going to start my prep on this day. Well, there's a reason for it, but for the average person that's having trouble staying in shape, like, your answer is to start now. Your answer is to do all the small things, not to overwhelm yourself, and just start doing it. Make healthier choices. Like, there's no reason to stop on your New Year's resolution and wait for the new year, to be fair. But I understand why people do. I mean, there's so much food right now. It's not the time of year when everybody wants to work out. You're busy. Like, my wife's overwhelmed with all the Christmas gifts because she's the expert Christmas shopper.
Family coming in town.
Yeah.
And you got all the excuses in the world to not be in shape.
Yeah, for sure. But, you know, even if you do just a little bit, you can be proud of yourself for doing just a little bit. And I'd say start there.
Awesome.
So
I think that's a great place to end it.
Yep.
Absolutely. I'll give you the same advice as all the real estate people. Just do it.
You just need to buy a house now.
You need to buy 10 rental houses right now.
The best time to buy a house was 10 years ago.
That's true.
The next best time is right now. And that's probably not true, guys. So don't listen to them.
The next best time.
That's what I would say if I was selling houses too.
Don't buy a house.
Don't buy a house.
I'd say that right now. If I was selling out, the best time to buy supplements, guys, is today. Not tomorrow. Today is the best time. So you should buy your supplements today, guys.
And beard oil.
And your beard oil.
That's right.
So yeah, today's the day. Use code NUTCLUB for 20% off your first order.
There you go.
So today's the day.
I'll put that down in the bio too.
It's the best day. 10 years ago. Now, otherwise, it's today.
We need a jingle.
For the Nut Club?
Yeah, we don't have to do it now.
I say we do it now.
Well, it's going to be pretty bad, but
believe it or not, the Nut Club is here. So give us a listen every day. I love to talk about the nuts every way. What can I say? Believe it or not, I love nuts.
Club.
Clipped, shipped.
I think it's a good one, right?
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah.
Thank you for cranking it out with the Nut Club.
That's right. Adios, amigos.
Have a great week.